Now, you may have heard of the rumours of a beast made of steel and flesh. Whispers of this creature have gone to the old world and the new, and I'm sure you've heard them rumbling of a creature called Steam Tank Steve. And we've been lucky enough to catch him live here on camera in a battle between the Empire and the Wood Elves, and Steam Tank Steve, of course, shall be fighting for the Imperial forces in the form here on the battlefield as this glorious, majestic beast. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, and we're going to hop into this pretty damn insane and intense battle between these two legendary warriors. So we have a Steam Tank combined with a Jade Wizard, because of course the Steam Tank is no mere contraption, it is a living creature whose flesh and steel is bound together, and therefore that is my lore example of why it can indeed get healed up by a lovely Earthblood. We have Volkmar the Grim, rolling dirty as always, the by far and away the best Empire Lord in my opinion, by a considerable margin. Very, very powerful enemy infantry killer, and up against a faction like the Wood Elves, he can absorb a lot of damage. In the main line for the Empire, we have spearmen dotted all the way along, some spearmen guarding the flanks, and a secondary battle line of swordsmen waiting in the wings in reserve. So these guys can push forward, or they can defend the back line, depending on what the situation arises. We have 1, 2, 3 units of huntsmen here in the central pocket, and a load of Empire Knights. We have Knights on the left and Knights on the right hand side as well. Really fun build. It's actually a little bit reminiscent of a build I bought, I believe it was against Dacta in a tournament recently, which was live cast on the channel as well, involving Volkmar the Grim and a Steam Tank. And Steam Tank is considered by most to be a bit of a meme, but trust me, when you see Steve in action, you'll understand the reasons behind why you would bring him. And he's actually pretty decent up against the Wood Elves as well. Speaking of the Wood Elves, we have Glade Guard dotted through the front line, a mixture of Hagbane tips and, oh no, it's just Hagbane tips all the way along. Okay, that's an interesting choice. Coming in here with that magical ammunition, as well as poison. I wonder whether ammo is magical. I didn't think the Hagbane tips had magic attacks. Maybe I'm wrong there, maybe I'm right. Maybe something's buffing them up and giving them magic attacks. I'll have to hop in and see. We have Dryades in the secondary battle line, backed up by some Eternal Guard and a nice cavalry contingent. We have Wild Riders galore, so double Wild Riders, as well as some Glade Riders as well. And though the Wild Riders have been overshadowed in recent times by the glorious Great Stag Knights, I must admit there is something special about the Wild Riders charging at breakneck speed into the enemy battle line, riding on the back of mighty stags. With a Branch Wraith down here on the ground, coming in with Pendulum as well as Earthblood, and up in the sky, the Sisters of Twilight on their Eagle, which is how you tend to see them. It's a little bit more cost effective than the Dragon, and they're still relatively decent in melee, though of course they don't have the big juicy breath attacks. Should be a good fun game, so without further ado, let's hop into this. And it looks like Steve has already roared, claiming the life of 2 Wild Riders. Not a bad target whatsoever for the Steam Tank to focus down. Now, the Glade Guard are shooting whilst moving forward, of course, and they'll soften up the Spearmen a little bit, which is actually not the worst target in the world. I've seen a lot of players do this recently, where you just obliterate the front line, and then your Dryads will be able to clear through it that bit quicker, and hop on top of the Huntsmen and all these units in the secondary battle line. And it looks like those shots are going to continue to come in. They're not focus firing though. I'd rather see them all focus one target, get rid of it, and focus on the next. But soften up all the front line again isn't the worst idea whatsoever. Dryads are now moving forward, looking to engage in hand-to-hand combat with the enemy. But Volkmar the Grim is simply going to roll forward and start to run over all opposition. He is so powerful in this matchup, as he just deletes Dryads so easily. I would like to see a bit of focus fire coming in now by the Glade Guard if they are able to pin him in. Spearmen continue to get softened up. It looks like Steve, the Steam Tank, is up to 13 kills at the moment, still focusing down Wild Riders. Really good choice, and Empire Knights are starting to spule forwards, looking to hammer into these Dryads, as some of the Spearmen, unfortunately, due to the bow fire as well as the Dryads engaging them, have had a little bit of a rough fight, so Empire Knights are running to their rescue, at least at the moment. Sisters of Twilight are focusing down, I believe, Volkmar the Grim. He is very tanky, has a lot of regeneration and a bucket ton of health, but hey, you got to get that health off him somehow eventually. He's done decent damage to these Dryads, but is now starting to take considerable firepower coming in from a couple of units of those Glade Guard. Now the Empire Knights are also starting to be targeted. The Dryad Rush has kind of crumbled. We have some units in the centre here and on the far side, but Empire Knights are starting to deal with them, and the Royal Sigma Sons are pushing up to cleave and rid the world of these arcane mistakes. And they're doing a good job as well at clearing through Dryads relatively comfortably. But the bow line is well and truly still online, and they have a bucket ton of ammunition, though a lot of their protectors in the form of cavalry and the infantry are starting to wear a little thin. Empire Knights taking quite a pounding at the moment. Sisters continue to hound Volkmar the Grim at every opportunity. And Volkmar, in retaliation, puts a big middle finger up to the sky at the Sisters, and drops a juicy banishment down on those Wild Riders as well as the Dryads. Nice micromanagement by the Wood Elf player to get out of the way of the worst of the damage, but still, a lot of damage was done nonetheless. We're actually getting an Earthblood on Volkmar, which is pretty hilarious. You almost never see Volkmar healed due to the fact he has that regeneration. Steam Tank is up to 33 kills. It has switched targets now. It is still aiming at Wild Riders, but a unit on the left-hand side is starting to bound downhill furiously into the Huntsman as that Steam Tank cannon shot goes high and wide. The Huntsman look to be breaking on instant impact. Wild Riders have a very impressive 68 charge bonus, so on the charge, they are certainly no joke. Droids are continuing to try to press, likewise are the Eternal Guard, though the Sigma Suns are starting to push back the Glade Guard, and they are the best unit to do this, due to the fact they're unbreakable and shielded. They're such a pain in the butt to deal with once they get in your back line. They really remind me quite a bit of those sticky cohort of Sotek. The Volkmar is now being tightened down quite a bit. The Steam Tank, though, is basically full health. Now, Steam Tanks do cause terror. They're a contraption not of this realm, it would seem, according to the Wood Elves. They've never seen something quite so horrendous as a Steam Tank, so they're a little bit scared of it, which I understand completely. It's kind of getting held up by an Earthblood, likewise is Volkmar the Grim. His HP not looking too shabby, but you can see his healing cap is actually now within range. Huntsmen are unleashing shot after shot into the Glade Guard, doing some okay damage, and Sigma Suns have been stopped in their path now by a mixture of Eternal Guard and Dryads. In the back, we can see the Glade Guard up starting to be shut down by some Empire Knights, but good with a little bit of recovery here with the Wild Riders slamming home into the Knights. I've been pretty impressed with the Wild Rider play so far, and if they can guard the Glade Guards long enough, they should be able to do a decent job on what remains. Sisters in the Sky are doing okay. 19 kills isn't amazing, and if I can see their damage value, oh no, you won't let me hop over their damage value. There we go. If we have a look at damage value, 1.2k, not bad, but they have used up now the majority of their ammunition. Looks like we do have a Earthblood go down on these Glade Guard, trying to heal them up, but the Empire Knights are going to clatter into them right now. Lances lowered, a war song being ripped from their lips, and the Glade Guard are starting to suffer. Wild Riders themselves have been broken, so Empire slowly starting to win the mobility game, which could be crucial for them, as there's nothing now which can stop the Huntsman raining down shot after shot. And they're currently focusing the Glade Guard as well as the Sisters of Twilight, who's doing a nice little bit of juking though, kind of bouncing back and forth, trying to get up in the sky and avoid the worst of the damage. Now, a big turning point could be that Conjoined Destiny, which if the Sisters get below a certain point of their HP, they can actually get a big boost to regeneration if they survive long enough. Volkmar the Grim is just gobbling up shot after shot. He has so many bows and arrows in him right now, but still tanking just about. We do have some Glade Riders as well as Dryads who need to come back to the fight on the peripheries, and it looks like we have a few Wild Riders in the back as well, so Wood Elves have kind of been scattered around. All of them need to start to form back up and at least start to apply pressure to the Huntsman. And all the state troops are starting to run out. Huntsmen are basically no ammunition. Swordsmen looking a little bit worse for wear. We're going to see a lovely, well-timed pendulum, but beautiful micromanagement here by the Empire player, actually pulling back with the Spearmen to avoid that entrapment and ignoring the Glade Guard who don't have ammunition, just driving after those ones who still have a decent amount of shots in them. If this comes down to a fight of Glade Guard in combat up against a Steam Tank, they stand very little chance, though the Sisters of Twilight do bring quite a lot of punishment to the battlefield. Wild Riders slam into the Steam Tank, which laughs in their face in the mechanical laughter, and simply starts running over the poor little stags, who instantly get terrified and almost slaughtered to the last elf. They're down to just 4 models, and they shatter rather quickly. Sisters of Twilight do a little bit of a swoop there over top of Volkmar, and it's actually taken a decent amount of damage as well from the Steam Tank's Steam Cannon, if it does get in range and actually does connect. That Steam Cannon is certainly no joke, although it looks like it does go just over the wings there of the Sisters, at least this time. Branchwraith is still very healthy. The Swordsmen are fighting back-to-back with the Sigma Suns, but they're so beat up, they're actually losing to Glade Guard in combat, which isn't something you want to be doing if you're any unit whatsoever, particularly a melee unit though. Glade Guard, let's see their ammunition. 7 volleys on this unit. I really did not know Hagbane tips did magic damage. I know Starfire Shafts used to and they changed it to fire, but these guys do magic and poison. Rather interesting stuff there. Might be worth bringing them up against factions such as a Vampire Coast. A couple more shots do hit Volkmar. He is well and truly at his healing cap now, which means he has healed a rather impressive 3,739 hit points. That is straight wild. Sister of Twilight with a lovely rear attack and actually connects pretty well. It looks like we are going to see some Holy Wrath brought down by Volkmar, but there's no real good targets for that there It's really designed to kill infantry. Sister Twilight take a big cannon shot to the back, and it looks like their Conjoined Destiny is now popped. They need to survive for another 30 seconds, which isn't that easy. Yes, you can get to the sky, but that Steam Tank Steve, will hunt you down, and you can't really juke with the Sisters of Twilight if, of course, they are broken. And, ooh, its ticker is timing down. They have rallied once more. They need to start dodging as quickly as possible, and then you can see they are starting to move to the left and the right as the Steam Tank lines up a shot, and I think actually clips the Majestic Sisters. Boom, there goes the HP rise though, back up to 2,000 hit points, which is rather tasty. They are unfortunately not under control right now, so they cannot juke, and every single shot is basically going to connect down to 1,800 HP now. That's some real rough stuff. Glade Guard trying to use up the remainder of their ammunition, but there is not much left whatsoever, and Swordsman continuing to fight the good fight. Now we do have a Branch Wraith. Branch Wraiths do magic damage, but can pack a relatively solid punch in combat, so can the Sisters of Twilight if they are able to engage with Volkmar, and then maybe surround the Steam Tank is going to be the best bet here. Glade Guard still deciding to leave the Steam Tank to the end and focus down Volkmar where possible. 1.2k HP. Both of these units, of course, are unbreakable. The rest of the Empire forces are kind of fleeing. These Huntsmen are gone. We have 43 Huntsmen left, but no ammunition on them, so that is not going to be contributing too much. But if they are dueling Glade Guard in combat, I guess it won't be too bad. Sisters decide to fly high and mighty straight into Volkmar, who actually props the Grand Hammer of Sigma to try and buff up his stats. And in comes the Steam Tank into combat, poking, jabbing, ramming, doing all those good things. And oh my god, did massive damage to the Sisters there. And then gives them a little parting shot with the Steam Tank as well. Once again, Conjoined Destiny is up for the Sisters. They just need to survive and dodge that Steam Tank where possible. Volkmar the Grim is getting so danger low right now. Big cannon shot does connect with the Sisters. They're down to just 370 HP, and this could be a big problem, not microing these guys. Back and forth enough to dodge the Steam Tank. Does do a lovely shot there into Volkmar, nearly killing him. Once again, is routing. Conjoined Destiny is just about to go off, but Steam Tank Steve fires a shot, and this time, unfortunately, misses. Looks like Conjoined Destiny will, in the end, be popped. Branch Wraith is trying to move into hand-to-hand combat with the Steam Tank. All these Glade Guard probably want to start to pile in, and particularly once Volkmar's dead, so there's no air effect nasty spells. And Volkmar does look like he's seen better days. Sisters do manage to dodge this time one of the Steam Tank's shots, which is up to 80 kills at the moment, and I'm sure some pretty ridiculous damage value. And Volkmar, 326 HP. Unfortunately, can't quite get to grips with him, the Wood Elf player, as the Huntsmen are putting their bodies on the line. We have even more Huntsmen coming back, and he's buffing all their damage resistance, which is good to see. However, the Sisters of Twilight have returned, taking a load of steam on the way in, but I think he's so gung-ho to kill Volkmar the Grim, and I can certainly understand why. Big hits coming in that bring down to just 7 HP, but not before he brings the Wrath, as well as another Banishment. That is so clutch. He got the Banishment in with only 7 HP left. That is going to get rid of so many Glade Guard here, and the Sisters are actually being forced back. Down Volkmar goes, and that might have been friendly fire actually from the Steam Tank, which killed Volkmar, which is pretty hilarious. But hey, we bow to no one but the tank, and the Sisters of Twilight once again are broken. If they break too many times more, they're actually going to shatter, and only 456 HP on them. Getting rear attacks into the Steam Tank is going to be pretty key. We do luckily have 20 Eternal Guard still fighting strong, and a load of Glade Guard and Dryads. Now, Glade Guard are still Elves, so they don't have, like, no Goblin Archer stats, but it's not good either. Branch Wraith can come in and pack a relatively decent wallop. The tank has still somehow got ammunition on him, up to 88 kills so far. Getting those last parting shots into the Sisters actually shatters them. The balance of power is massively in favour right now of the Elves, though. There's just so many of them. There's so many. Coming for that surround. Steam Tank, of course, can't be broken, but hitting it from all sides certainly is a good idea. Plus, we still have that healing coming in from the Branch Wraith, which could prove to be pretty pivotal in this fight. The Steam Tank Steve maybe has sung his last song. Steam still shoots out, though. It's going to be killing a decent amount of models. Just shy of 100 kills so far. Tear rounds could actually start to prove to be a big problem, though. Steam Tank probably wants to gun down after these weakened units. Ones that are quite easy to break. You can see he pushes forward, aims it directly here at the Glade Guard. Finish off them, finish off the Dryads, and the other Glade Guard may just in the end start to tear out and fall back. Branch Wraith is also getting poked and pounded, kind of ping-pong balled around their own troops. And one unit has shattered, and with that we can see more Glade Guards starting to waver and break. Yet another Earthblood goes down, but is it too little, too late? A load of Wood Elf units are starting to run. Glade Guard are terrified. We have more units routing. Everyone's running for their lives. The tank is holding firm for now. down to 3,600 HP. Bouncer Power hates the Steam Tank. It's like, no, there's no Volkmar. You can't possibly win this. Well, the Wood Elves haven't got the memo. Glade Guard terrified, Glade Guard terrified, Eternal Guard running for their lives as well, and some of these units are even starting to shatter, leaving the Branch Wraith on their own again, absolutely, bam, slapped in the face by the Steam Tank, and forced back quite a bit. Getting back on their feet though, and coming in with a vengeance. Now, keeping the Branch Wraith alive is relatively crucial here, because of course it will be buffing up the leadership of nearby friends, and also those Earthbloods are also very tasty. Apart from that, it's also the hardest hitter left on the field for the Wood Elves. However, I do think the Empire players doing the right idea here. Go after all these weakened units, constantly break them until they shatter, and you can do a Branch Wraith one-on-one who absolutely gets sent flying again there by the mighty tank, who's now clattering into the Glade Guard, doing a pretty decent job. Both these units are starting to break. Balance of Power not really coming back yet. Earthblood does catch the Glade Guard, as well as the Branch Wraith, more importantly. Steam Tank won't even bother with her and rolls down the hill directly into these Glade Guard with Hagbane tips, and whirls around to come back uphill and hit them all again. Branch Wraith's taken a considerable amount of damage as well. Poor little Glade Guard is consistently getting run over. We now have 3 shattered units of what was the kind of remaining resistance of the Wood Elves, and every time the Glade Guard come into contact, they again their arse whooped. However, if it buys time for the Branch Wraith to do the damage, maybe there is hope. The Steam Tank is down now to 3,138 HP. It's up to Silver Chevron, which is rather impressive. I think it may have started with 1 or 2 Bronze Chevrons on it, but nonetheless, still good work. And now it's just running over, treading under mechanical hoof here, or wheel, more likely. The Branch Wraith is just constantly getting run over, and it's not taking massive amounts of damage, but it's just not able to get to grips with this Steam Tank, who's just been a menace in the night, bouncing between the different units. And every time the Branch Wraith gets close, it gets sent absolutely flying, which reminds me, I haven't seen Gorbals fly anywhere near as much since the Torx the Brass Bull DLC, so maybe that was fixed. Well, unfortunately for the little Branch Wraith, it doesn't matter who you are, Steam Tank will send you flying. Bounce Power still very much in the Elvish favour. Glade Guard are routed and tied. This other unit is coming back, but yeah, more and more are just starting to shatter here. We are now getting some long-range shots into the Branch Wraith, and it's finally out of ammo. Man, Steam Tanks have so much ammo. It's always something I underrate and underestimate just a little bit. Branch Wraith's going to be trying his best. We're going to fast forward this, of course, because it is just kind of Steam Tank versus the universe right now. 2,508 HP really isn't bad. The Wood Elves have managed to drag down about 1,000 HP, I think, off it since this kind of final confrontation where it's been the last man standing. But this Branch Wraith is just being ping-pong balled all over the place, not having a good time whatsoever, and is nearly at its own healing cap here. Steam Tank doing, yeah, 200 kills. 200 kills. Before it was isolated and alone, it was near enough 100, but since it has gained another 100 and is doing some pretty ridiculous damage. Wood Elves are trying to rally. We do have 12 Eternal Guard now. Eternal Guard with their bonus versus large can do good work versus the Steam Tank, but it looks like the Branch Wraith does break. With just over 1,000 HP left, the Steam Tank roars victorious. Steam Tank Steve will not back down. He will not bow before the forces of the Wood Elves. Very well played here to Chad Forgrim, as well as oh god, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Of Clan LS, who are a really cool clan, by the way. Murthalareth, that's what we're going to go for, TTV. I feel like you may be a new YouTuber. I'll have to wait and see. Type in that name on YouTube and see what comes up, and maybe we have a new Total War YouTuber on our hands. But anyway, well played to the two lads. Thank you for Chad Forgrim for sending this one in. And before we do the old usual spiel and look at the damage dealt and damage value of all of the units, the Steam Tank. 203 kills, 22,000 damage dealt, 5,353 damage value. An absolute monster, a beast. The legend of Steam Tank Steve shall live on in our hearts and in our memories. Very impressive stuff by him, as well as Forgrim for pulling this one out the bag. Chad Forgrim was also known as Grom Brindle, by the way. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up. I'll be going through the damage dealt and value in just a second. But before then, yeah, leave a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. It helps out massively. So I really do appreciate it. It helps push content and so forth. And I think recently we've been kind of getting overwhelmed by all the other YouTubers putting out kind of this new cafe stuff. We've kind of been buried a little bit. So it does help out certainly quite a bit. Feel free to comment down below as well what you thought of the battle and what you'd like to see in the future. And what do you think of this matchup as a whole? I think it really does... I think in the hands of a top tier player it favours Wood Elves slightly due to the mass skirmishing you can do, but the Steam Tank honestly might be a good answer to that. It applies a lot of long range pressure to all the cavalry and is still yet another unbreakable terror causing kind of buddy to Volkmar. There's links down below in the description to the Patreon if you'd like to support the channel, as well as my Discord if you'd like to submit replays just like Chad Fulgrim did, get involved in tournaments, events, and all that kind of cool stuff we usually do here on the channel. Voltmar the Grim, 2,105 damage value and 106 kills. Just an absolute beast. He always is. He's always so powerful. Jade Wizard didn't do too much there, unfortunately. I didn't actually see the Jade Wizard get sniped. Might have been finished off by the sisters relatively early on. Steam Tank, yeah, just beautiful stuff. 203 kills, 22k damage value. It really did pay good dividends. Nice use of the Empire Knights to plug gaps and push into enemy back line. Unfortunately, simply got overwhelmed by the sheer ferocity of the Wild Riders. Huntsman across the board, a bit of a mixed bag. This unit did absolutely garbage. The other two did really good. 1.2k damage value and 1,000. Even drawing their blades in the later stages of the game to maneuver into combat. Sigma Suns, 740 damage value. 865 on this unit, Swordsman. So they fared not too shabby whatsoever. As for the forces of the Wood Elves, the Sisters of Twilight, 1,875 damage value. Branch Wave, only 1,000 there, unfortunately. And the Droids kind of just got steamrolled. Likewise, the Eternal Guard, this one unit did okay. 800 damage value. The rest just really of the infantry kind of got slaughtered. But hey, this build wasn't really about getting value from the infantry. It was all about the Glade Guard, and they did pretty phenomenal, I would guess. 800 damage value and 119 kills from this unit, 1,000 damage value, another 1,000, another 1,000, and 875. Such a solid range unit. I'm quite happy they're getting their day in the spotlight. It was always used to just be triple Weight Watcher spam. Now Glade Guard, people have kind of wisened up to their power. Glade Riders did really solid, just shy of 800 damage value, and I like the Wild Rider play. Though they didn't get much value, they pinned in a lot of enemy troops and helped protect the back line for a considerable amount of time. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.